Charles Leclerc has sent shockwaves through the Formula One world with one of his most candid and cutting post-race remarks yet. What should have been a momentum-building weekend in Bahrain, with a front-row start, new car upgrades, and optimism pulsing through the Ferrari garage, ended with a brutally honest assessment from Leclerc that rocked Maranello to its core. There was no sugarcoating, no hopeful spin, just sharp truth. His words weren't vague, weren't hidden behind PR polish. They were stark, honest, and impossible to overlook. This wasn't just another disappointing Sunday for Ferrari. It was a turning point. A reality check delivered by a driver who has tolerated too many missteps, too many tactical blunders, and far too many races where the car just wasn't good enough. Leclerc left no ambiguity. In a single sentence, he laid bare the brutal truth Ferrari has been avoiding. The SF25 doesn't have what it takes. Coming from a driver as fiercely loyal to the Scuderia as Leclerc, this level of transparency signals a shift. Patience is wearing thin, and when Charles speaks this bluntly, the entire paddock listens, because it usually means there's a storm coming. And this might be the one that forces Ferrari to finally confront the hard questions they've been dodging. If you're new here, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because Leclerc's latest statement could be the spark that ignites a major transformation inside Ferrari. And trust us, you won't want to miss how this unfolds. Starting P2 and full of belief, Charles looked ready to contend for the podium. But from the opening lap, warning signs flared. George Russell passed him with little resistance. The Ferrari offered no fight. Leclerc was left playing defense, not offense, the complete opposite of what the team had strategized. Even Lando Norris, despite serving a 5-second time penalty, reeled him in and overtook him with ease. There was nothing Leclerc could do. The SF25 just didn't have the performance to fight back. Even strategic plays like undercut attempts and aggressive early stints couldn't make a difference. Ferrari had hoped that by pushing hard in the opening laps, they'd create a gap using clean air and fresher rubber. But once again, the car chewed through its tires too quickly. The same issues that have plagued Ferrari since 2022 were still present. High tire degradation, poor balance, and an inability to adjust mid-race. By the time the race settled and strategies equalized, Ferrari was laid bare. The car lacked grip, lacked pace, and, most importantly, lacked adaptability. When you don't have raw pace, it doesn't matter what strategy you choose. It's always the wrong one. Leclerc wasn't blaming strategy. He was pointing out that no strategy could have saved them. And that's the most damning takeaway. When a driver loses faith in both the car and the race plan, it's a flashing red alert. It doesn't matter how many simulations your engineers run. If the car is inherently slow, you're just playing chess without your queen. Let's talk about the safety car. On paper, a golden opportunity. Leclerc was on fresher tires than his rivals, and many thought this would be his chance to bounce back. But again, the car failed him. The performance gap was too large to overcome. George Russell, on older softs, managed to stretch his stint longer than Leclerc could with mediums. That's more than disappointing. It's humiliating for a team that claims to be competing at the top. Leclerc revealed after the race that he began to struggle even before the final laps. Following Russell closely made things worse. The turbulent air exaggerated Ferrari's tire overheating issues, making the car unstable and nearly undrivable. His chances faded fast. It wasn't just a race lost. It was yet another confirmation. Ferrari is out of sync with the frontrunners. McLaren's recent progress is real. Red Bull, even with their internal issues, are still a level ahead. Mercedes is improving. And Ferrari? They're stuck, waiting, hoping, but not improving in the areas that matter most. Race day execution and consistent long-run pace. This is where Leclerc's bombshell isn't just criticism, it's a warning. He didn't scream on the radio. He didn't lash out in anger. But his post-race words landed just as hard. For a driver who has stood by Ferrari through endless broken promises and failed upgrades, this tone marks a serious shift. A line has been crossed. He essentially said, "I've waited. I've worked. I've committed. But you're still not giving me what I need to win." And that sentiment carries weight. With Lewis Hamilton now joining him in the Ferrari camp and all eyes on the team's performance arc, the pressure is building at a dangerous pace. Ferrari cannot afford to let things spiral. They cannot afford another year of almost. Because if these frustrations continue to fester, Leclerc could start to seriously question whether his loyalty to Maranello is worth the emotional cost. Let's not forget, Leclerc is no rookie. He's in the peak years of his career. He needs results. And Bahrain just reinforced the painful truth that Ferrari can't deliver, at least, not yet. Now, what about the car itself? The SF25 was pitched as a more refined, stable evolution of last year's machine. And in fairness, there are areas of improvement. Qualifying form has been solid. Top-end speed isn't the issue. But that's where the praise ends. Tire degradation remains high. Balance suffers when fuel loads are heavy. And strategic versatility? Still missing in action. Bahrain brought all of those issues to the forefront. On high degradation tracks, Ferrari continues to struggle. Until they fix their tire energy management issues, these problems won't go away. This isn't about bad luck. It's about a car fundamentally unprepared to compete over full race distances. So where does this leave us? And more importantly, where does it leave Ferrari? Leclerc's raw statement wasn't just a venting session. It was an alarm bell, a signal that one of F1's most loyal and committed drivers is starting to lose faith. A man who has stood firm through year after year of disappointment is no longer holding back. And when a driver like Charles Leclerc starts speaking this openly, the consequences are wide-reaching. His words reverberate through the engineering bays, where designers now have to question whether the SF25's concept is flawed at its core. They echo through the strategy department, where no amount of planning can cover for a car without pace. And loudest of all, they echo through the hearts of the Tifosi, the millions of Ferrari fans around the world who are once again asking, how did we end up here? Because this wasn't just another missed podium. It was another missed promise. Another weekend where Ferrari talked a big game, but couldn't deliver when it mattered. This season began with fresh energy, with the dream pairing of Hamilton and Leclerc fueling hopes of a new era. But Bahrain made it painfully clear, the ghosts of Ferrari's past still linger. Inconsistent race pace, fragile tire wear, and a car that cracks under pressure. And let's not ignore the psychological toll. How many more races like this can Leclerc endure before his patience breaks? How long before Hamilton starts to wonder if joining Ferrari was a mistake? Ferrari isn't just battling McLaren and Red Bull on track. They're fighting a growing sense of doubt inside their own garage. And that is perhaps the most dangerous opponent of all. Because if Ferrari doesn't act, and act fast, this could snowball into something bigger than just bad results. It could fracture team morale, erode driver confidence, and derail their championship hopes before the season even hits the halfway mark. Then what? Do they cling to a flawed design philosophy? Do they risk everything on mid-season upgrades that may not land? Or do they finally confront some uncomfortable truths about their direction, their development, and what it's really going to take to keep two world-class drivers motivated and fully bought in? Tell us what you think in the comments. Is this a genuine turning point for Ferrari, or the start of yet another collapse? Was Leclerc right to speak up, or should he have waited longer? And most importantly, what will it take for Ferrari to stop the bleeding and finally start the fight? If you enjoyed this in-depth look and want to follow every twist and turn of this roller coaster 2025 season, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because if this drama is anything to go by, we're in for a wild year. And this might just be the moment that sets it all off. If Ferrari doesn't react fast, they might not be the only thing going up in flames.